Hey everyone, today I'll be making a new video that's going to show you how to find the 5-number summary, how to find the interquartile range, and how to create a box and whisker plot using your TI-84 calculator. On the right side of the screen here, you see a problem. It says listed below is a sample of student grades on a take-home test. Find the 5-number summary and interquartile range for the data set, then create a box and whisker plot for the data set. So we'll go through and we'll do all three of these on the calculator. First things first, 5-number summary is simply the minimum data value, the maximum data value, and then the 3 quartiles. The way we compute the 3 quartiles is by finding the median of the entire data set first, which means that the data have to be in order from least to greatest. Once we find the median of the data set, that's going to be our Q2 value. Q1 and Q3 then are the medians of the lower half and the upper half of the data set respectively. So the calculator will go ahead and do these for you, and as we enter our data into the calculator, they do not have to be in order. You simply have to put the entire data set in. So we're going to go through and we're going to put our data set in first. So we're going to go to Stat, Enter. This will take us to our list editor. And again, because it's all one set of data, you can put it all in the same list. It doesn't matter whether you use L1, L2, L3. So I'm simply going to enter the data in here. One data value per line. And if a data value repeats, you do need to put it in each time that it repeats. All right, so I got my entire data set put in. And now we're going to go back, and just like in the video where we showed you how to find standard deviation, we're going to go to our one variable stats, which is going to give us the 5-number summary. So we'll go back to the home screen by pressing second mode. And now we'll go to stat. We're going to go to the calc menu. And again, we're going to choose one variable stats because it's all in one list. We put all our data in L1, and again, whichever list you put in, you can tell it here. If you want to do L2, you simply hit second 2. Frequency list, we want to leave blank, and so we're going to go to calculate. Or if yours is the older version, simply press enter. And here we get our long list of data. So at the top, we have X bar, which is the sample mean. Then we have sigma x squared, Sx, and lowercase sigma x, which are your standard deviations. N, which is the number of data values. And now right here is where our 5-number summary starts. So we've got min x, which is our minimum value, Q1, which is our first quartile. And if you scroll down using your down arrow key, here we see median, which is our Q2, Q3, which is our third quartile, and then the max value, which is 100. So here we have our 5-number summary: min x, Q1, median, Q3, and max x. So these are what make up the 5-number summary, and these are what we will use to draw the box and whisker plot. But the calculator will actually draw the box and whisker plot for us as well, and so we'll see that in just a moment. Second thing the question asked us to find was the interquartile range. So interquartile range tells us the distance between the middle 50% of our data values. In this case, it's simply going to be Q3 minus Q1. So interquartile range, or IQR, is Q3 minus Q1. So I'm simply going to do 100 minus 78. And we get 22. So our interquartile range, which tells us the middle 50% of the data is spread out by 22 points. Now, your data is still stored, and so now we're going to go through and find the box and whisker plot simply by going to our stat menu here. So we're going to go to second, stat plot, and we want to make sure that the plot is on. You can use whichever one you want to. I use one, so we'll press enter, enter, and that cuts our stat plot on. Now, next thing we have to do is pick the box and whisker plot, and that is the one here. So we're going to go down to type and go over until the box and whisker plot is selected. And then we're going to hit enter, and this selects the box and whisker plot. For our X list, because we put our data in L1, we do want to keep L1 as our X list. And then a frequency, you can leave it as 1. And now we're going to press zoom 9, which is the stat screen. And here we see our box and whisker plot. Now in this case, because the max value and Q3 are the same, you see that there is no second whisker, right? So here's our minimum value, and if you hit trace, your calculator will display the values here for you. So our whisker here begins at 55, that's our minimum value. If we go here, the box starts, that's our Q1, Q2, which is our median of the entire data set, and finally Q3, and in this case, that is also the max value. So that is where we will start. And so with your box and whisker plot, in each section, 25% of your data is represented. So in this case, we have data that starts here, and to this point right here is 25% of our data. From here to here is another 25% of our data. From here to here is 25% of our data. But in this case, because the max value and the Q3 are the same, that actually is the other half of the data. So 50% of our data is within this section here. So we can see that this data set is very skewed. So the tail of the box and whisker plot is on the left-hand side. So we would say that this data is skewed left. I hope this has helped you today. Take care.